Hey people, today's episode of WTF is sponsored by GoToMyPC. Start a 30-day free trial at GoToMyPC.com with the promo code WTF. Do it!
Lock the gate!
Are we doing this? Really? Wait for it. Are we doing this? Wait for it. Pow!
What the fuck?
WTF.
And it's also, what the fuck?
What's wrong with me? It's time for WTF.
What the fuck?
With Marc Maron.
All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers? What the fuck buddies? What the fucking ears? What the fuck nicks? What the fuckstables? All right. I'm in a hotel room in New York City. I got to be honest with you. I'm exhausted, but I did it. I finally did it. I've been here since Saturday night. I was in Austin before that. I haven't been home in over a week, it feels like. And I didn't think it was going to happen, but I'm sitting here looking at a half-eaten corned beef sandwich from the Carnegie Deli. You know, you go to New York, things you've done over and over again throughout your life that give meaning and consistency to your New York experience. I didn't think it was going to happen. And here I am, about a half hour away from leaving, and I'm shoving it in my face. A mountain of meat. I know a lot of you are concerned. You're out there, you're listening to me. Mark, didn't you just eat barbecue in Austin? We read on Twitter that you ate barbecue in Austin twice. Didn't you just talk about that Chinese food that made your hand numb? Mark, what are you doing? Is this a slow suicide by lard? Is it a slow suicide by meat fat? Nope, everything's going to change. Everything's changing after this. Did I mention, I have to mention a lot of, holy fuck. My show is on tonight. Everything we've worked for together, me and you guys, is on IFC this evening. 10 p.m. Eastern and Western time. I think 9 p.m. in the central areas. Maron on IFC premieres tonight. I can't fucking believe it. I really can't believe I ate this sandwich. I mean, what am I, ridiculous? I mean, when does it stop? This is the sandwich that killed my people. Don't emotionally avoid how excited you are about your show, Mark. Don't do that. I want to thank one of our listeners for helping us diagnose and fix the problem from the Vancouver episode. There was a sound issue that was there that in the recording that many people couldn't figure out. The entire WTF team in Houston and on the Cape were trying to figure out. It's a bad joke, NASA joke, whatever. We couldn't figure it out what the hell was wrong with it. It had been recorded improperly, and we couldn't see it. We couldn't tell until people couldn't listen to it on mono devices. So this guy who goes by L, and his band is L Bell, you can check out their tunes at lbellmusic.com, helped us out, fixed the file. We reposted it. Thank you. Rock on, my friend. So you can check them out and give them some love because they salvaged an episode. It's never happened before. We couldn't crack it. That guy figured it out. Also, before I forget, Apple's iBook store selected Attempting Normal as their editor's choice this week. Flattered, excited. Go get the book there. They've got an enhanced version that's got 6 specially recorded audio segments with more than 35 minutes of brand new stories and reflections I recorded only for this version in my hotel room, in this very hotel where I now sit with corned beef. You can download it at itunes.com/Marc Maron book. Okay. Don't want to forget this. With everything else going on, it will be in Milwaukee tomorrow night. That's Saturday, the 4th, at the Pabst Theater. Please come. Please come. All right. I said that. I'm getting used to this self-promotion thing. Don't think I'm going to... It's not going to always be like this. I promise. What a whirlwind this has been. I want to thank you guys for being there for me, for putting up with my self-promotion, which I'm not great at. Did I mention my book is out? Did you see how I did that? All right, my book came out. And don't get the wrong idea. I'm not happy. I'm not content. I'm excited. But I haven't changed. I'm just excited. I don't know why I keep promising you guys that I'm not going to change. Maybe I will change. Jessica here is here with me. We had a lovely time. That doesn't happen all the time on vacations. But we did. I got my work done. We had nice dinners. I think when I showed up with the corned beef sandwich and only potato chips for her, that was not a great moment for us, but I think we're working through it. Well, she is. I feel pretty good about the sandwich. I'm sure she'll enjoy her chips. But let's get back to the important things. Huey Lewis is on the show today. I got the opportunity to interview Huey. Someone says, you want to interview Huey? I'm like, yeah, I'd love to talk to Huey Lewis. That's got to be a life. So we had a nice chat, which we'll get back to the garage for in just a second. I did Howard Stern for the first time when I was in New York. I didn't think that would ever happen for me. And it's weird when you spend your life, wondering what something would be like, whether if you were ever going to do that. And the opportunity came up, and you walk in. It's interesting because he interviews people, I interview people. He obviously invented it on some level. He invented the modern interview. So I didn't know what to expect. I was very nervous. I thought he was going to dig something up. He was going to take me down, Didn't know. Got over there, and when they bring you into the studio, he's already talking to you. Good trick. Good trick. Noted. Though I kind of do that already. Then the producer, Gary, throws the headphones on you with the microphone built in, and you're in conversation before your ass even hits the chair. And we had a great talk. I didn't know what he was going to hit me with. I didn't know where we were going with anything, but I was fortunate in that he didn't wear his sunglasses the day I was there, so I could see his eyes. He was very perky. He was connected. Like I was watching him on the monitor in the dressing room doing his ad reads. I'm like, I get that. That's a radio guy in there. That's Howard Stern, but he's a radio guy. He's just doing his ad reads, he's eating some melon. I'm like, that's Howard Stern eating melon right there. That's just a guy in there eating melon. I can talk to a guy who does an ad read and eats melon. I understand that. Sounds of New York. Sounds of New York. I got right in there, and right away he was like, so you're a jealous guy. You're a jealous guy. You're jealous. You're angry. You're angry at people. I'm like, yeah. Aren't you? So we got right into that. It was jealousy and anger. He did some off-the-cuff psychoanalyzing of my anger issue based on something he read in my book about my father. I'm like, I think you got it. I think we fixed it. But it was a thrill, and I had a great conversation. I hung out with him an hour. Great conversation. Had a good time on Fallon, doing a lot of radio. It's just been crazy, a whirlwind. And I think it all went pretty well. Thank you for being there. Enjoy my show tonight. Record Bill Maher's show. Not going to say I'm going to be on it, but I'm going to be on it. So that's good. I'm competing against myself tonight in some markets, primarily the East Coast market. But it was a window of opportunity. I took it. It tapes earlier. I'm going to be home to watch my show and be glued to my computer to wait for people to say shitty things on Twitter. You know what? I'm going to switch that. Today, I'm only going to look at the good things. Okay? All right, that's a promise. You won't see me engaging with bad shit. I'm not going to promise on anyone's grave because it's a wobbly promise, but I think I can keep it. All right? You have a problem with those chips? That was the only chips they had. Are they no good? Oh, they're pop chips? That was the only thing they had at the place. I went to the one place. We'll get you some other chips later. I'll buy you a whole sandwich of some kind. All right, before we get to Huey Lewis, let's do this. It's Go to My PC time, people, and this is a good time for me to be using Go to My PC. I'm on the road a lot. I'm running from airport to airport. There's a lot to do and not a lot of time to waste. Very important. Never waste time. Never just sit in a room and do nothing, or always be utilizing time. All right, just get on with the ad. You should do what I do and get Go to My PC on your smartphone or tablet. You can access your entire office computer from your mobile device so you can be productive and actually get work done while you're waiting. Go to My PC turns any iPad, iPhone, Android, or Kindle Fire into your computer. Not just a computer, yours. Edit or send any file as if you were sitting at your desk, even when you're walking. You can picture yourself sitting at your desk walking. Use any program, even those you don't have set up on your mobile device. Plus, Go to My PC is easy to use. My listeners can try Go to My PC free for 30 days. Visit gotomypc.com, click the Try It Free button, and enter the promo code WTF. then download the free app to your mobile device. That's Go to My PC. Try it free. Promo code WTF. Okay? That's that. Now let's talk to Huey.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
There you go.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, man.
Huey Lewis. How do you like that?
Hey,
You're still out there doing the work.
I am.
It's amazing, man.
Well, I'm young,
And you look well.
You know, I always say if there's not surprise in their voice when they say you look good, if somebody says you look good, you know, they should say, "Wow, you look good."
Yeah.
And if they say that, they mean it. Otherwise, it's just,
Well, I haven't seen you in a while. I mean, I don't know you, and I know you like most people know you. I mean, you know, you were everywhere for a while, and then people were like, "What's he up to?" And you never stopped working.
True.
Yeah.
Well, we're a band. We're a band, and we play.
Yeah.
We play music the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. I mean, how many number one hits have you had?
Oh, gee, you're embarrassing me.
Come on, man.
You're embarrassing me.
Am I?
No. What? Yeah, I don't know.
You don't?
I actually don't know. I mean, I don't know.
A lot.
Number one?
Well, I mean, top 10.
Well, top 10, I
A
think
lot.
there's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but what I didn't really
You're embarrassing me.
Oh, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. But what I didn't realize was that you know, when you grow up with listening to someone's music or being around for it, that you know you came at a certain time. You know, there was a time where you know you guys were popular.
That's right.
And it was like post new wave, just post new wave,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of brought back that kind of like working man integrity of solid fucking rock and roll music. And all of a sudden you're everywhere for a little while. But I didn't realize that you were hammering at it for years.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
that you came up the real way. You weren't some flash in the pan.
I think we all did, really.
Yeah.
You know,
Some people.
in those days.
Yeah.
And you know, and really to address your earlier point, it was the records and those things are a sign of they're a product of the times.
Yeah.
It's pop music.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's not jazz here. This
Yeah.
is pop music.
Sure.
So the times are important in that. And that's what, it's funny because this is our 30th sports anniversary
Of that record.
tour of
Wow.
that record. And we're going to tour it and we're going to do some giveaway stuff and do a big deal of the 30th thing.
Yeah.
And you know, I realized like 30 years ago, what a different world. It was completely radio driven, everything. There was no internet. There was
Right.
no jam band scene. No. So if you wanted to exist as a
Right.
band and make records,
Right.
you had to have hit singles.
Yeah.
And so our record Sports,
Yeah.
which is now we're talking a lot about because it's this year and all
Yeah,
that stuff, is, and as I suddenly had this realization that it is a collection of singles.
Right.
Because we knew we needed a hit.
Right.
And we didn't know which one was going to hit.
Right.
So we aimed every single track at the radio because radio was king.
Right.
And that's completely changed.
Okay, so
Completely
the songs on that, The Heart of Rock and Roll, Heart and Soul, Bad is Bad, I Want a New Drug, Walking on a Thin Line, Finally Found a Home, If This Is It, You Crack Me Up, Honky Tonk Blues. But that's a Hank Williams song. But fucking I Want a New Drug? Are you fucking kidding me? that song was huge. I mean, like, it's like, you know, like I can hear it in my head.
Yeah, well, you're sweet to say that.
That is a pop song. That is the fucking signature of it. Yeah. But I mean, it took you a while to get there. I mean, how did you? Because I know you were a Bay Area guy for a while.
Right.
But where'd you grow up, and what was the journey, man? I mean, where'd you grow up?
Well, I was born in New York City.
Yeah.
But moved to California when I was 4.
So
because the sandboxes weren't very good.
Yeah, no. Dangerous. They're dangerous sandboxes.
You know, so we went to better sand.
Yeah.
And but I grew up in Marin County, California.
That's nice.
But I had a very bohemian family. Both my dad, who was a jazz drummer, doctor, but a jazz drummer by hobby, and a piano player.
Oh,
and
yeah.
My mom was an artist and Polish and at first kind of a hippie and then not just kind of hippie, a real hippie. And then so my dad sent me away to prep school, convinced me that would be a good idea.
Because your mom was too much of a hippie?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? Like, were they?
Well, they were taking acid and
were they tied up with the crew, the Bay Area original acid crew?
very well with Timothy Lear when he visited the West Coast.
Yeah.
Boom, you know, Ginsberg and all the beat poets and stuff.
So your folks were hanging out with them?
My mother was. When they got they split up
because Mom went off the reservation.
Because Mom got to be Mom went left big time. Although my dad is just as crazy. To be honest, but he didn't like the drug thing. So
right. So
he thought cocktails were enough.
Sure, the old school.
Yeah.
So do you have recollection of
very much?
Of Leary in that crew? Or
well,
what?
I literally would. I remember one night I woke up in the morning.
Yeah.
It was like 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Or 2. No, must have been midnight or 1:00.
Yeah.
And I was. Let me get it approximately right.
Yeah.
I must have been. 15 or 14, maybe. No. What am I talking about? I was probably 13.
Right. Old enough to
13.
know, though.
And I woke up and I walked out into the living room, and there's Allen Ginsberg in the corner with finger cymbals.
Yeah.
And my mom would bring the No Name Bar home occasionally. Which was the Beatnik Bar in Sausalito, right next to the Tides bookstore, and all that kind of stuff, and and Mingus and
really?
And
they were hanging out at your house.
John Handy, absolutely, jazz musicians and
just jamming and talking.
Well,
and
no, just drinking,
high, doing what people do after the gig.
I think so.
Yeah. Did that have any?
I was a kid,
but did it have any effect on you? Was that one of those signposts where you're like, that's what I want to do?
No, not really.
Nothing.
I guess I was young, so it wasn't really. It was
so that was in the late 50s.
Yeah. No, this is kind of very 61, 62, 63. And
Right. So it was all just happening. The beat thing was kind of arcing.
Thing. That's right.
And then the 60s thing hadn't taken off yet.
Exactly.
So it wasn't attractive to you. Those guys were just dirty hippies?
And my musical tastes went the other way as well. I mean, that's why I listened to soul music all the time, because the hippie thing was like, we were there. We went to Fillmore all the time, saw all the bands.
With your parents?
Well, my mom did. Yeah, my mom would condone all this stuff at that point.
Right. So she was just taking her kid.
Yeah. And I'm at prep school, and then I come back for the summertime.
Right.
And this explosion's happening, in San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's been summers like that, and then back to prep school.
So you're wearing an outfit to go to school, and then you come home to your mom, who's like, losing the blazer. We're going to the Fillmore.
That's right.
Who'd you see?
Yeah.
Do you remember who you saw
at the Fillmore?
Yeah.
Sure. We saw Charles Lloyd Quintet, the great. Southside Charlie Musselwhite's Southside Sound System.
Musselwhite, yeah,
with Harvey Mandel on guitar.
Yeah,
Charlie. Now I'm a harmonica player.
He's up in the Bay Area still, right?
Right, and we're pals. Well, we're not, but we're from the same place. Man.
Was a harmonica
one of my neatest things is to call him a contemporary.
Sure, man. I mean, so harmonica was like your first instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my first and only, really. I mean, I don't play anything but harmonica.
And you can run with the best of them.
Well, no, I don't know. Really, who was it said is you got to have something to say.
Sure.
So if you only need the chops to say what you need to say. So it depends on what it is that you want to say.
That's interesting, yeah.
And it's a different voice. Like sound, harmonica is a reed instrument, so nobody sounds the same. I mean,
right.
The sound comes from your cavity, comes from your body.
Right.
So it's
And once you learn how to bend those notes, boy, then that's the big breakthrough with harmonica, where you just figure out how to pull your throat down so that you can bend it and move it.
And actually go to certain notes that aren't on the scale.
Well, right.
Howard Levy, who's just an amazing harmonica player, has figured out how to play all those overtones and stuff, and he plays, bop on a diatonic harmonica.
Really?
Oh, he's tremendous.
I'm a little Walter guy, and that stuff, that's pretty deep.
Well, Walter, interesting thing about Walter is if you go back and listen to early Little Walter and Ben Webster from the same period.
Yeah.
That's who Walter was listening to.
Oh,
Ben
really?
Webster and Illinois Jaquette, the sax players.
Yeah. You can always track it, can't you?
Yeah. I mean, and that's his genius was to turn it around and play blues position and play it through that distorted amp.
With that big old microphone.
Yeah, and get that crystal mic and get that saxophone sound.
Right, like on Roller Coaster. Was that the name of that riff?
That's it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Was there ever a moment where you sat down like, I'm going to learn every lick on this motherfucker?
Sure.
Yeah.
Almost all harmonica players can play Roller Coaster.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a tough run, though, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. It is. Well, and of course, it's not just playing it; it's playing it with feel, and it's how you play it.
Well, I think that's interesting what you said, especially because of my realization as basically a garage guitar player.
is that it took me a long time to realize that it really is the feeling that, you can, your expertise or your musicianship is just, it's relative to what you can communicate through what your instrument is or your voice or whatever.
And there's foie gras, and then there's hamburgers.
Yeah, hamburgers are always better.
No, not necessarily.
All right, well, maybe you can eat them more
I like
often.
foie gras,
right,
actually.
occasionally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But my point is that they're different. The two things are different.
Yeah.
And there's pop music, and there's, serious, virtuosic music.
Yeah. So when so you grew up in the Bay Area, and when did you get out of there? Because it sounds like you're as exciting as it would have been for many people to grow up in the environment you were growing up in. It got a little tedious.
The Bay Area.
Well, yeah, and the hippie thing, and that.
Well, no, we listened to KDIA.
Yeah.
Across the Bay, which was in all our little bands that we had in Marin County. That's really the common thread of the news, is that Johnny and Sean and Bill Gibson and Mario, we dug the funky stuff.
Right.
Because it was kind of a rebelling against the
hippie thing.
The hippie thing.
So it was basically R&B, soul music.
And interestingly enough, KDIA in Oakland is the one and only sister station of WDIA in Memphis. And so in some cases, like a Rance Allen record, which was on Truth Records, a gospel record.
Yeah.
And they had Ain't No Need in Crying.
Yeah.
That in some cases maybe only got added to those two stations because Memphis was right there next to Stax. See, Stax,
right,
and Truth
right.
was part of Stax.
Right.
So the first station to play any Stax record was WDIA, and so and then the second one was KDIA, and we know songs that nobody else almost heard,
Right. And then there was in the late...
Johnny Taylor, a lot of Johnny Taylor stuff.
Right. And in the late 60s, it seems like, because you're talking about the early 60s, right? In the late 60s, It seemed like Graham was starting to integrate that. Like, there was soul coming through the Fillmore. There was like, stuff, it became more popular.
Exactly.
Interesting, man.
Well, that was Bill. Bill saw the Human Being where they had all this different stuff. And
Right.
Said, right, let's do that.
Did you ever come in contact with those bands, like the Dead and those guys? I mean, were they around?
Sure. You mean, were they around?
Well, I mean, when you were a kid,
Well, I used to go see them. Yeah. I mean, I started playing harmonica right there with Pigpen.
Yeah. Did you know him?
No, never met him.
But you saw him and you were like, that was sort of inspiring.
Oh, he was fantastic. And then through him, I discovered Junior Wells, and then went the other way and all that kind of
right.
stuff. But yeah, it started kind of, they were right in our backyard. They were older than we were. In some cases, they were our brothers. Mario, our bass player, his brother John was in the Quicksilver Messenger service.
Really?
Yeah. And so we were the sons.
Right, the older brothers. Yeah.
Yeah. And Johnny and Billy's band had Dan Shalleck, who was Dave Shalleck from the Sons of Champlain's brother.
Right.
And so it was, in some cases our older siblings and in my case, my mother favorite bands were the Grateful Dead and everything else. So we had to find something that was our own.
So you were living on the Haight around there?
No. We were living in Marin County.
Right.
Yeah, nothing like the Haight.
Yeah. So was Pigpen a good player?
Yeah. Killer.
It's hard to tell, because there's not a lot of it on the Dead records. I mean, he didn't live that long.
Oh, he was great, man.
Yeah.
They were a great band. They were real great. Jerry was great.
He was, wasn't he?
Oh, he was great, man. He was really great.
And it was a real unique sort of blending of sounds. As time went on, I think they got kind of pigeonholed. And they invented that jam band thing, but boy, those early Dead records and what they were doing was fucking sweet.
Yeah, and they were the originals. They were the first guys. Think about it. It was Love Me Do.
Yep.
And then came the Dead. I mean,
it's like, what is that?
They started every tune with the feedback. Remember that? There would be minutes of that between songs.
Yeah, so they'd just break down in the middle of a concert and do Space Jam for it was like a bathroom break. The drums would just start and you're like, oh Christ, and you just wait it out.
Yeah.
What are they going to go into?
And then they turn the whole audience onto acid. That's always a good show business ploy.
Yeah, sure, man.
That'll work.
Yeah, maybe they'll remember the show.
Yeah, that might make it memorable.
Well, that was at the where'd they do that? That first one was down at that the dock workers union building down on
Longshoremen's Hall.
Longshoremen's Hall.
Yeah.
Were you at that?
No.
Was your mom?
Let's see. First time I saw the Dead, I'll tell you what. You know what's interesting?
What?
The first time I saw the Dead, was at Cafe A Go Go in New York City.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I guess it might not have been the first time, but I was at prep school, and I was the only one who knew who they were.
Yeah.
And Cafe A Go Go held about 150 people. People right in the Village.
So what, this would be like they're like 64, 65?
Like 65, I think.
Yeah. And they're all dressed up and looking good and being the weird ones that they were.
Yeah, kinda.
Uh-huh.
But it was way different because that's right. I had seen them.
Yeah.
I had seen them because they were sort of larger than, like at the Fillmore, they were with the light show.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Bing and the big stage.
Yeah.
And now suddenly they're at Cafe Go, and I was like on top of them.
Yeah.
And it was strange. A little twin reverb. Bobby Weir's playing through a little twin.
Yeah.
It's different.
Wow. So when you were in New York, I mean, you were out going to clubs when you were like that young, like 14 or 15.
Right.
Did you ever like tap into like the New York scene? Because there were sort of competing psychedelic scenes between like the Warhol crew and the fucking West Coast crew.
Yeah.
Did you see those guys?
Well, I was there a little earlier than that. My scene, when I was at prep school.
What prep school did you go to?
Lawrenceville School in New Jersey. We would go to Philadelphia for the folk scene was big.
Okay.
This is 63, 64, 65.
Uh-huh.
And in the East Coast, and up 65 and finally 66.
Yeah.
And the East Coast had, Kerner Ray and Glover, Snaker Dave Ray, Tom Rush played at the second fret in
Von
Philadelphia.
Ronk. Phil Von
exactly.
Ronk.
Dave Van Ronk.
Dave Von Ronk,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yep.
And they were doing that.
And that was the scene there, the folk.
What did you think of that business?
Well, I dug it, and I especially dug the bluesy stuff.
Right.
John Kerner, man, Spider John Kerner, fantastic.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know that guy.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Wow.
And Tony Glover was the harmonica player.
Mm-hmm.
Really good, man.
So when did your actual sort of musical journey start? When did you lay it down and say, fuck this? I mean, did you go to college and then bail or what?
Yeah, I went to Cornell for 5 minutes over a 2-year period.
That's some high. You must have been a smart motherfucker, man.
No, well,
Cornell's a big deal.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's a great school, actually, as it happens.
What'd you go to study?
But not for harmonica. If you want to study harmonica, you don't need to go to Cornell.
What'd you go for? Do you remember? Or we just
I was an electrical engineering. I had a kind of a math aptitude as a kid, and I had good grades and always had good grades in math. And I was a year young when I skipped second grade, so I went to Lawrenceville, a prep school. My father suggested, and after 4 years of prep school, my dad said, okay, well, as far as I can figure out, you can do whatever you want to do, but I got only one more thing I'm going to make you do. What's that? Well, you're only 16, you're a year young. Take a year off and bum around Europe. I said, but Dad, I'm going to play ball and I'm going to do this. He said, no, it's the last thing I'm going to make you do. I think it's, most people don't know what they want to do in life. And if you take a year off in between before college, it might help you crystallize some stuff. My mom said, hey, that's the first good idea your dad ever had. Gave me a Bob Dylan record, said the poets love this guy. And her boarder at the time was a guy called Billy Roberts.
Yeah.
Who wrote Hey Joe and had played harmonica with the harmonica. He was a folk singer had the harmonica stuff.
Your mom
and he
rented to the guy who wrote Hey Joe?
That's right.
God damn, you're like some sort of like musical zealot. You were just at the core of a lot of shit. That's
just old, man. You've been around and been in the business for a while. This stuff happens.
But damn, that's one of the best songs ever.
Yeah, it is a good song. It is a good song.
I mean,
but it's very folky, when you think about it.
And Hendrix just ripped it open.
Yeah, took it to another place.
Yeah, because that Hendrix's version of that song is one of my favorite songs.
Fantastic.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
What was that dude like? Not Hendrix, the dude who wrote the Hey Joe.
Oh, he was a folk singer. Very interesting guy. Kind of very smart, but a little eccentric.
Uh-huh.
And, but he had all these harmonicas because he played them, and he gave me a bunch of harmonicas. So I hitchhiked across the country for my year off.
From Marin
to Boston.
Yeah.
And I went to visit my prep school guys who were at Harvard.
Yeah.
And slept on their floor in Cambridge for about 3 weeks till I figured out how to get over to Europe without having to pay.
How'd you do that?
I hung out at what was then Idlewild Airport.
Yeah.
Because on my hitchhike across the country, a guy had explained to me that there was a way to do it. And he explained me how to do it. You get the folder, you go in early. In those days, there were no computers. They weren't scanning anything.
Right.
They just write on it with a special pen.
Yeah.
And if you could dodge the thing, then you take a seat that isn't yours. You write a certain seat number, a bad seat over the envelope.
On a boat? Or a plane?
Airplane.
Okay.
TWA.
All right.
And you write a middle seat.
Right.
Over the wing. That's
Yeah.
the number you put. And then you sit in a different bad seat.
Right.
Just in case she says somebody else is in your seat. You go, oh, I'm actually over there.
Right.
But I thought, I got sorry.
So you guys, that's your double check then.
Yes, and they weren't sold out. These flights were not sold out in those days. And he told me, he says, if you can get into the little waiting area, which you do, you go very early and make yourself inconspicuous.
Yeah.
And then eventually they're going to count, and the count's going to be off by one, but they're not going to stop anything. They're going to think they messed up, and they're just going to fly.
And that was it.
That was it.
Now, when you went across country, you certainly can't pull that shit off anymore, huh?
No, you can't do any of that stuff. Nor would you want to, right? Would you want to hitchhike across the country?
Well, but that's a sad thing, isn't it?
I suppose, yeah. I mean, it's different.
I mean, but like, I wonder.
It is sad. It's sad in the way our parents look at our lives that are so complicated and say, you guys, it's too bad,
Well, it's just like there was a time, like I think I was always told not to hitchhike, but there was a time, I think that window in the 60s.
Right.
Where the country was changing and there was something new happening, and there was it felt scary but somehow safe to do that. I mean, you trusted people.
No, I agree.
What was that? Did you have any sort of pivotal experiences? Because I mean, America was still sort of from place to place a unique experience.
I had tons of them. Every ride I got picked up. One guy had stolen a car. He was obviously a felon of some sort.
Yeah.
And he had two other guys hitchhiking, and he says, "Right, you got any money?"
Yeah.
Well, I said, "No, I don't have any money," and I think I had $400, which is a lot of money.
Yeah, sure.
On my pocket that initial journey from Bakersfield.
Yeah.
I first went south to Southern California and stayed with a gal in La Jolla, a girlfriend of mine.
Sure.
And then I took off across the country.
Yeah.
And at Bakersfield, I found this guy.
Yeah.
And we went all the way to Denver.
Yeah.
And we siphoned gas at night because nobody had any money. And I wasn't about to say, hey, wait, I'll pay.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, hold
so
on to
we
the
would
money.
go out into the country, and you'd find these farmhouses, and at night, in the middle of the night, and he'd wind down the road, open the guy's gas pump, fill the car, and take off, man, while they're running out the back door with a shotgun and stuff.
Good.
It was unbelievable.
Good first ride.
It was horrible. All the way to Denver.
Yeah. And then what happened in Denver?
I don't remember that. I remember hitchhiking north. I went north. It was so cold in Ohio. I mean, we're talking freezing cold in September.
Yeah.
Freezing cold. Hitchhiking out there.
So you get there, you get to Boston, you do the number, you get overseas, and then what happens?
Then I met another guy called Michael Jeffries, who's a crazy. He'd hitchhiked and traveled all the way from South Africa. And I said, well, I'm here my dad's making me go. I'm going to Europe. He said, we'll go together. I said, fine. So together we hitchhiked all the way through France, down to North Africa, all the way to Marrakesh, where we went for 3 days and stayed for 2 months.
Yeah? In Marrakesh?
Yeah.
Did the hash thing?
Played harmonica till my lips bled on the square.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did people dig it?
Yeah. I mean, I got, we stayed at a little youth joint, Muktah's Home for Wayward Boys and Girls, he called it. And it was like a dirham, and all you could eat was like a dirham, And then when I'd play on the square, I'd get 3 or 4 dirhams. I'd be 2 dirhams to the upside.
So you just hung out?
I just hung out.
That's fucking beautiful, man. Did you have the long hair? Were you doing
I had long hair.
Did the
everything.
thing? Yeah.
Yep, everything.
Did you meet
the whole package?
Did you meet anybody in Marrakesh? Was there any of the old beats hanging around, or did you tap into any?
I didn't. Every once in a while, I'd see somebody who was clearly British, but I didn't know enough to know who they were.
Right.
And I think I've read books. I read the Clapton book, and I know Keith Richards and those guys. But I think in Marrakesh, that predates me.
Yeah.
I was there in '67.
Right.
And they were there, I think, 62.
So you're getting your chops together. You must be pretty much a wizard player by the time you get done with the tour or with the hitchhiking thing.
Yeah, I mean, there was another crystallizing, coming out of Morocco.
Yeah.
Now I'm hitchhiking out of Morocco.
Yeah.
And there's me and my pal, Michael Jeffries, and we're hitchhiking out of Morocco, and we can't get a ride because now we're in Spain.
Right.
And Spain was Franco's Spain in those days. And so it was very paranoid kind of a deal. And they wouldn't pick you up. We have long hair and everything. And now on the horizon, I see a I'll make it up, but it's close. 1930 Chevrolet, something like that.
Yeah.
And pulling an Airstream trailer. Stops for us, Dutchman called Jimmy Vanderau. The car had been used in Casablanca, the film, and it was his, and he was driving it all the way back to Holland.
Come on.
And he says, go ahead, boys. So we get in with him. He liked to stop at every bar on the way and have one shot of that mentholated spirits, whatever they call
absinthe?
it. Slivovitza or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Or no, absinthe, whatever their gas was.
Right. It's not. It wasn't absinthe. You're talking about schnapps or something. Or
I can't remember which one they do in Spain.
Yeah.
They have one in every country.
Yeah.
But anyway, wham,
Yeah.
And then he'd be hammered. So at some point he drove off the road into a flooded field, and the water came up above the floorboards. We thought, we're screwed here. But no, he says, no problem. And it's very hazy because we were hammered.
Yeah.
And it's the middle of the night kind of thing.
Yeah.
He has a fire extinguisher. Sprays the motor with a fire extinguisher. Suddenly gets back in, starts it up, and drives out of the pond onto the dike. The car works. He said, no, because it dries it out or something.
Yeah.
Dries out a distributor. I don't know if he opened it. I don't know what he did. I can't barely remember. But now we drive out. But when we get to the border of Portugal, my passport is missing. And it turns out that we know later that it got floated somehow out of my knapsacks on the ground in the back in the Airstream.
Right.
And it got it fell out of there somehow with a flood thing. So I had to go back to Seville and get a new passport. And it's middle of the night. I got $20 to my name maybe at this point. So I knock on the embassy. I get there just before closing at 4. The next night, they shut the door in my face. I had to spend the weekend there, and I met these students, and they said they heard me play harmonica, and they said, "I tell you what we'll do, we'll make a concert for you, and we'll make the money." So they threw a concert in 5 days in Seville that was like a smash hit. There was, at their university, there were 3,000 people. I played harp with this guy. It's kind of a long story, but
who is the guy?
The guy, his name was Michael, and I can't remember his last name. He was an Australian guy who they auditioned for. They auditioned. Guys, they said, we'll do it, because I knew all about San Francisco. And that just captivated them, these students. They couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
And I was really from San Francisco.
Right.
And I knew all these things. Everything was, and so once I'd done that concert, needless to say, the bug had bit. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was just the two of you? Or did you have
two of us. And I think it was, Los Nuevos Tiempos was the opening act. They were kind of a big band, and they were a professional outfit,
Yeah.
And we were doing like Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee stuff.
Sure, right. Key to the Highway.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
A spoonful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but it worked like a champ in this concert atmosphere. And after the show, I had cards from these clubs and these little cafes and stuff, and this one disco tech guy who was the big guy in town. He said, "Hey, come see me play Friday night." We said, "Great, sure, we'll do it."
Yeah.
So we go there Friday night to the club, and we were horrible. It was like and the other band was great, and the string broke, and it was the end of our start.
That was it.
It lasted one big night.
But that's when you got bit, though. That was when you're like, this is
exactly.
It. This is the fuck. This is my future.
I'd had a fabulous gig and then a terrible gig.
Right.
3 nights later.
So where do you go after that to get started?
Well, I went back to Cornell.
Yeah.
For 5 minutes over a 2-year period.
Yeah.
And played in bands for the most part.
Yeah. And you dropped out.
Then I dropped out to go back to San Francisco, where it was all happening. It was 69 now.
So that's it. It's blowing up. And that's where you put the first band together?
No, then I went back and joined a little bluegrass outfit called the Hereford Heartstringers that expanded into this big bluegrass band with 3 of the members of Clover. And Clover was a country rock band that had been they'd made a little noise in the late 60s. They were great.
And you were just playing harp or you were singing?
I was just playing harp for the most part. Just playing harp.
Yeah.
Although I was singing in my solo act.
Yeah.
But no, with Clover, I was just playing harp.
And that was your first real band?
Yeah. Oh, no. I had bands. I was played in bands in Cornell.
But they weren't recorded.
And I actually sang, but with no recording, right. So with Clover, they had made records already. They'd lost their deal, but I joined and Sean Hopper joined, and then we got it together. We got signed by Phonogram and managed by Jake Riviera and Dave Robinson from Elvis Costello and Nick Lowe fame. And
Nick was in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the greatest.
Great guy.
He's the greatest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I think Niccolo, and he's the greatest storyteller of all time, by the way.
Yeah, no, we had a good time. You know, he's kind of funny because he's got an edge to him. You know what I mean? He's seen a lot of shit, and but his new record's real sweet.
Oh, he's reinvented himself about 10 years ago, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. He's like just a guy with a guitar now. You know,
Huey says, "I don't rock anymore."
And that's the guy that you had something to do.
I love
with
him.
I Knew
by
the
way.
Bride when she used to rock and roll.
Yeah,
right?
I produced that for him.
That's a big song, man.
We had a ball. Well, we had a ball doing it. I mean,
I used to Rockpile. I thought was a great fucking.
oh,
band.
they were great. There's nothing like them. Nothing like them.
So, all right. So you get signed, and you're not singing yet, or you are?
Yeah, I sang at Cornell. But
Right.
when I joined Clover, Alex Call was the singer, so
Yeah.
I didn't sing. I played harmonica, and I'm just happy to join her because they were a much more professional outfit.
But these guys that signed you were British,
yeah.
and so how'd that work?
Oh, we flew to Britain and lived in Headley Grange in the south of London, south of England.
For how
in
long?
Surrey for 2 years, basically. We were based in London for 2 years.
And you were trying to just knock
we
it out there.
toured with Thin Lizzy, toured with Leonard Skinner, toured with Graham Parker and the Rumor, toured with
Skinnerd.
Yeah, we did 29 dates. in
How's
Britain
Ronnie?
with Skinner, with all those. Well, before that, with the original Skinner, man.
Right. It was Ronnie and Alan
Ronnie,
and Gary and
Leroy.
Artemis.
Yep.
And Billy Powell on piano.
And Artemis was the sweetest, man. He would just, he'd come out in the middle of our show because normally we'd be billed as support.
Right. Yeah.
They wouldn't even have our name.
Right.
So and in Britain there's a tradition of being tough on the opening act anyway.
Right.
So they were ready to boo us off stage.
Right.
And Artemis would come on sometimes and go, "Hey, these guys are good."
Yeah. I thought they were a good band, man.
Oh, they were great.
And so did you guys take off in London or no? What happened?
No. We made 2 records. Literally the
Clover Records.
Clover. Literally, Dave and Jake signed us, and almost the day we landed, punk hit. Johnny Rotten spit in the face of the enemy reporter, and the game was on. I remember going to the Roundhouse for the Clash's. If it wasn't their first gig, it was really close.
Yeah.
To their and the place is packed, and we're on the side of the stage, and Strummer is leaning out over the audience, and he is covered in saliva. It's dripping off him in the spotlight from the side. You can see he's head to toe, and he's spitting at the audience, and they're spitting back at him, and he's leaning into him. And imagine us from Marin. We were going like, "What is happening?"
Yeah, how is this good?
It was out. It was way out.
But was the music good?
Well, you couldn't really hear it at that point.
Right.
But we got it. It wasn't about the music.
Yeah.
It wasn't about, and that's where, frankly, that's kind of where I took my cue a little bit because I thought, hey, I don't know about I don't dig the music necessarily. I still like the same music I've always liked. you
Right.
know. I like rhythm and blues music.
Right.
But I love their stance.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they were thumbing their nose at what was the industry, as
Right,
it were.
right.
And all those stereotypes about what kind of voice you had to have.
Right.
And whether you needed, hit the chorus in 30 seconds or not. or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
So
But was there that moment though where you're like, well, what the fuck are we gonna do? I mean, like if this
Yeah.
is where it's going.
I suppose what they did is Jake and Dave realized that. They went, "Oh my gosh, our timing was a little tough."
The management.
Yeah. So so they got Mutt Langer to work with us. So we made 2 records.
Wow, that must have been early. That must have been like right at the beginning of him
Mutt, he was a staff phonogram producer. He was doing like 10 acts a year.
in England.
Doing the Boomtown Rats, the City Boy, and in some of these cases, writing all the music, singing all the background parts. I mean, he was doing them just one right after another. Mutt was, and he did us. We had 2 weeks, and we made a couple records with him, ostensibly for the American market,
Right.
and so on. But I, which meant I didn't sing, although I was starting to sing a little bit with Clover. It was ostensibly we were going to make a big kind of a rock record
Right.
for America.
And what was the music like? I mean, I haven't listened to it.
Yeah, well, you kind of got to listen to it. It's tough to describe.
Yeah.
Tough to describe. I don't know. I think, I don't know.
Was it country-ish or folkish?
It was kind of a mélange, right?
Yeah.
But Clover was an interesting band. I mean, we were a little bit like the Zac Brown band, if you will, in a way. Well,
yeah.
and they're kind of interesting because they go across genres, which I dig. they got kind of hip hop rhythms, but they got fiddles on it, or whatever.
Right, sure,
that
sure,
kind
sure.
of stuff.
Oh,
so when that's what that was Clover's thing.
But it wasn't as defined as it should be necessarily. I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, who knows?
Who
knows?
Didn't have no edge to it. They have an edge.
I don't know. Enough edge. I don't know.
But did they end up?
What is edge anyway?
Edge is that's a good point.
Seriously.
What does it mean after?
I hear some of that Bruce Hornsby stuff. That's edgy to me.
Sure.
When I hear big,
you
cool
worked with
chords,
him, right? You worked with him a lot.
He's great.
But those guys ended up hanging out, and you took off in London. Clover.
We broke up when John McPhee, our guitar player, and joined the Doobie Brothers, basically.
And were they the guys who? Because I remember.
Although that's not fair to John, because we kind of dissolved. We lost our record deal. Management said it's over, and blah, blah, and we all went back to California with our tails between our legs.
But someone once told me that the News, which is wrong, recorded Elvis Costello's first record. It was the guys from Clover.
No, it was Clover. They include Sean Hopper, who's the keyboard player for the News.
Right.
Our keyboard player.
Right.
And John Chiambotti, who's no longer with us, our Clover's bass player. Mickey Shine, Clover's at the time drummer,
right,
who's no longer with us.
Right.
And John McPhee,
right,
who's plays with the Doobie Brothers right now. That's the band.
That's the one that backed Elvis.
Those are the four people that backed them.
And Nick Lowe brought those guys together?
Put them all together at a studio about this size.
Uh-huh.
Seriously.
Yeah, because, Nick talks about that.
It was magic, man. This guy, I'll tell you, Sean Hopper, might be our keyboard player.
Yeah.
Might be the first guy to realize how great Elvis Costello was.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I make this point. I don't know because Elvis walked in off the street and got signed by the Stiff Records. See, Jake and Dave started Stiff Records.
Right.
And Elvis was their first find, I guess. He came in. So they put him with the Clover guys to rehearse.
Right.
And after the first rehearsal, and Clover was very nonchalant about everything. And,
right.
And we all had chips on our shoulders.
Right.
Or I didn't probably, but they did. So let's say. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
They'd worked with a lot more people than I had. But and we all were kind of crusty,
Yeah.
But they rehearsed at our house. And I went to London because I was a harmonica player. I didn't need to rehearse, and I wasn't going to play on the record anyway.
Yeah.
Actually, Elvis asked me to play on a tune or two, but I took the 2 weeks and went to Amsterdam. But I'm in.
You had your priorities.
But the first night we came back, and we're having dinner like we always used to do at the house. And Sean Hopper, I said, "So how'd it go today, guys?" And Sean goes, "Man, I tell you, this guy is amazing, man. The lyrics are amazing," he said.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really something.
Yeah.
And Sean might have been the first guy to know.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, he certainly became a monster of modern music. That guy.
Yeah, he wears it so well.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Isn't that sweet when that happens?
Yeah, he becomes respectable. He ages appropriately.
I love
with
that.
his music. Yeah,
I do.
Do you know him?
He's a treasure. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, but
who are your buddies in the business that you from the back in the day that you still hang out with or talk to?
Well, I talk to Ray Benson a lot. He's from Sleep at the Wheel. We went to rival prep schools together 40 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
What about Boz Scaggs? Do you know that guy?
I do know Boz a little bit.
Because he's from Bay Area, and Steve Miller, too.
Yeah.
But they're a little older than
just
you.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Miller's mostly up in Oregon and Idaho now.
Yeah, they were a little older than you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. God, Miller was a monster. You guys,
fantastic.
Yeah. So, all right. So then when does the News come into play?
Well, right there. We started when Clover broke up.
Yeah.
We all went back to Marin County, and our local club asked me, did I, we used to have a thing called Monday Night Live. Monday nights were always a good night for some reason. So I said to them, look, give me your Monday night, and I'll try and make something happen. So we started this idea with a bunch of our pals, and a place called a bunch of crazy guys.
Yeah.
And we started this whole thing called Monday Night Live.
Like it was a jam?
Yeah. And comics and anything, just kind of an open mic thing. And I kind of emceed it. We had a house band, and
where was it?
It was first one was at a place called Knightsbridge, a club, and then we packed it out
in SF.
No, in Marin County.
Oh, yeah?
This is in San Anselmo, and then we went to a place called Uncle Charlie's in Corte Madera. And then
Who were the comics?
a guy called Don Nagel, who was, you know, I look back, the stuff was so politically incorrect, man.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff he said, you just couldn't even get
I
next
don't know
to
that
today.
guy.
You couldn't even get next to.
Yeah.
But we had Ricky D. Jones did one for it. It was a couple songs. Anybody who was in town would fall by. Van Morrison came by a couple
Really?
times. Yeah, and then we had the house band. We called it the Monday Night Live band, and we had a Monday Night Live theme. And then we did a bunch of songs on the QT that I sang.
Right.
And so then I got to thinking, this is cool. You know, maybe I should do this, blah, blah, blah. And so what happened is we got offered some free studio time because one of the studio owners came to the show and couldn't get in. And so then she came back, her name Pat and Patty Gleason, from Different Fur in San Francisco, and they said, "Hey, do you want some free studio time?" I said, "Sure." Well, of course.
Yeah.
Does Clover want free time? She said. I said, Clover doesn't exist, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
She said, "What do you?" So we cut for a joke. Cause we didn't have anything to cut. We didn't have any material. A disco version of Exodus called Exodisco.
Yeah.
And it was pretty funny, man.
Yeah.
And I had it in my pocket. We spent 2 days doing it. We had Pee Wee Ellis on it, played horn on it, you know, from James Brown, man.
Yeah.
One of the great guys of all time.
Yeah.
So it was really a fun project. And everybody, it was liberating because we were in a recording studio and we were doing something for the hell of it. It wasn't, you know.
No pressure.
So I get this recording of Exodisco. About 2 weeks later, I get a call from Nick Lowe, who's written a song that from a title I had or whatever. And he says, "Look, I really want to pay you back for the song. How about you fly over here and play harp on my record? And by the way, Edmonds wants to cut Bad is Bad." I said, "Fine." So do it. So we fly over there. I arrive in London. I go straight to the studio.
Yeah.
We cut Nick's tune. We cut Bad is Bad. And the session's over about 1 o'clock, 1 or 2. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're done.
Yeah.
Well, the record company comes by. They listen to the 2 songs and they like it. And they say, and now there's a kind of an awkward silence with nothing going on. I said, "Hey, you guys want to hear something funny?" And they said, "Sure." And I put on Exodisco. Well, the record company loved it. And so they said, "Hey, let's do it as a single." I said, "Great." They leave. Jake, I said, "What do I do?" He says, "Go in there tomorrow. Tell him you want 13 points, 3,000 pounds. Don't leave without the check." You know?
Yeah.
I go in there. I come out of there with a 3,000 pound check. I come back to the boys. I say, "Guys, I think we got to go in here." So with that, meanwhile, when I get back, but they wanted more vocal on it.
Yeah.
They wanted a little more, don't they always?
Yeah.
And so I was going to give them a little more vocal, but when I go back to the studio, they've erased the master because the tones were on it. Long story complex. So I scream up and down, "We're going to need 5 days. We made a record deal with this. We got to replicate it." She says, "No problem. You can have the whole week." So we cut 3 or 4 other tunes that we were working on. And that demo is the demo that got assigned to Chrysalis. So.
Wow.
So thanks to Nick Lowe and Exodisco for our.
That's hilarious. And Bad is Bad is your tune?
Bad is Bad, yeah.
And that's it. And how did
Edmonds cut it.
Well, how did Nick get that? He just
He'd heard that. Clover used to play it.
Oh, okay.
Clover used to play it. We never recorded it.
Right.
But Clover used to play it. And I used to sing it, actually.
And did Edmonds get a hit with it?
Well, I don't know. No. I mean, I don't know. What's a hit?
Well, I don't know. England's different. I don't know how it works over there.
I mean, it got play. I think. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it was a single or if it was just on his album.
You still in touch with that guy? He's got
no. I don't know. I think he's out here somewhere, isn't he?
I don't know.
I lost touch with Dave. I never saw him all that much. But I talk to Nick occasionally.
Yeah, and Van Morrison, like when he came up to play with you guys, that must have been mind blowing.
Yeah,
he's sort of thematically R&B guy in a way.
He's fantastic.
Unbelievable.
He's an original. He's fantastic.
I came to him late in the game, and it's just like, I just got into Astro Weeks within the last year or two.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, where the fuck does that come from?
Well, really good. It comes from, it's very interesting, because it's cross-cultural.
Yeah.
I mean, he's Irish.
Yeah.
And so he gets that R&B thing from a whole different standpoint. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
So you signed with Chrysalis, and it's like, how many of the guys that you signed with are with you still?
4 of us are founding members.
Wow. And how many dudes do you tour with on stage when you go out? Do you have
we have girls periodically, so we can be 11, or we can be 9, or we can be 6.
Yeah, and you're doing everything's live in the moment.
Well, that's why I like 11 or 9 because we're still paying people to play one note at a time. Mm-hmm. A trumpet player. He needs a hotel room. He's got to have per diems. You got to pay him something.
Right.
Feed him. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
when you signed to Chrysalis, and now, because the first album was a big fucking record. I mean, it was huge.
Yeah, first album was
the Huey Lewis in the News.
Huey Lewis just sold 25,000. Died of death. Sold 25,000.
So it wasn't until Sports.
No, second record was Picture This. Sold about 250,000 copies.
That's pretty good.
It was okay. Had Do You Believe in Love?
Right.
And was going to send us back for another. So they picked up our option for the third album
because they saw you growing.
Yeah, but the third album, which never would happen today, by the way.
Right.
If the first album didn't hit, forget it.
Yeah.
But on our third album, that's the one we produced ourselves. We'd taken over the production. We actually did it on the second album too, but we learned our craft a little better.
Yeah.
And we aimed every song for radio.
And that was Sports.
And boy howdy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And now in terms of like what that year, okay, that's 84 already. Right?
Yeah.
So that's
record came out in 83 actually. September of 83.
So, like, who were you competing with? I'm trying to picture the musical
Bruce
landscape.
Springsteen, Lionel Richie, Madonna, Whitney Houston.
Oh, like Springsteen, what is that like around what record? The River or something? Right. And Madonna was just starting out, basically.
Just starting out. We did the MTV Awards together.
Right.
I famously stood up for her at a little press thing. Famously, not famous at all, but I remember because they were giving her, because she had such an act.
Yeah.
And so, but we bumped into each other a lot. Prince too.
Yeah.
Prince too.
He was just hitting too?
Yeah.
So that was a pretty interesting time because it was a wide open playing field.
In fact, maybe the greatest thing, the best cheese we ever got of anything is about, we won a Grammy, but we were nominated for an Oscar also. But maybe the best cheese we ever got was on the Tonight Show once when Sammy Davis Jr. said, and Johnny Carson says, "Who are you listening to right now, Sammy?" Yeah. And he says, "Well, Prince and Huey Lewis in the News, man. Those cats knocked me out." It was wonderful, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Completely unsolicited, just like right
exactly.
there. Oh, that's fucking sweet.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
And then, so how did it happen that you got the gig to do some of the soundtrack on Back to the Future?
Well, let's see. Zemeckis, who, directed it, Bob Gale and Steven Spielberg, we had a meeting, and they put it to me, they said, look, we wrote this film, and our lead character, Marty McFly's favorite band would be Huey Lewis and the News. So,
great.
You want to write a song? For the film. I said, well, I'm not sure we know how to write a song for a film, but we'll write. How about we send you the next one we write? And he says, sure. And the next one we wrote was Power Love for the most part. That's the way I remember it. He remembers it differently. We just reconnected. He remembers that I sent him a different song.
Right.
And he said, nah, and then I sent him Power Love. But I don't know.
Yeah. But
either way, whatever.
So that, 84...
We didn't write it for the film.
Right.
Is the point.
So 84, 85, that 83, 84, 85, that was you were huge.
Yeah. We did 3 forums.
Yeah.
We did 4 Oakland Coliseums in 86. We did 3 in New York.
Madison
Square Gardens.
It must have been great.
It was great. It was nervous. I was always nervous. Now I'm not nervous, and I'm so much better creatively now. The challenges are so creative. I mean, the one thing I've tried to do as I've gone on in this thing is look at every choice based on, is it creative or not? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Well, when you're younger, you're just holding on, When you're younger, you're just holding on.
That's it. You're treading water. You keep trying to keep your head above that.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And it was coming at you pretty hard. I mean, and I was ready for it as well. I mean, it was no spring chicken.
Yeah.
And I knew I'd seen it happen to other people, you know?
Sure.
In the meantime. So I was ready for it.
Well, you've seen the rise and fall.
Yeah. As much as a guy can be ready for it, I was ready for it,
Yeah.
But it's still, when it's going on, it's still tough. I always say, the thing about anybody who does what I do or we do has got to like the attention a little bit, or they wouldn't have done it to begin with.
Well, you're a showman, man.
I mean, so, but by the same token, it happens sometimes 100% of the time. So most of the time you're fine, enjoy it.
Right.
Part of the time you grin and bear it.
Right.
And hopefully there's a very small time when it drives you crazy.
In what way?
Well, some guy comes up and goes, you're in an airport, a guy walks up and puts his face 4 inches away, go, what's your name? Right?
Yeah.
You go, Huey Lewis. I told you it's him. Right?
That's the price of fame, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay, I guess.
Yeah, well, now you're lucky back. Now people just grab you and they hold their iPhone up and take your picture.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, Isn't
that unbelievable?
I've held more strangers in the last 2 years.
Man, I tell you, that is hugely different.
Yeah.
Because in our day, it was autographs.
Sure.
But very few people had cameras.
Yeah, and now everybody, they still do it to you, right? They got to come over, boom, take a picture.
Unbelievable. Right?
You know what I did it to? You know who I did to? You'll appreciate this. Like I was flying from where the hell was I flying? I think I was flying to New York, and I'm at the airport, and I got upgraded to first class. I'm not a rich guy, and I see a dude standing there waiting by the ticket counter. I'm like, holy fuck, is that Buddy Guy? That's got to be Buddy Guy. And I kind of go over and I look over his shoulder at his ticket, to see the name on it. It's Buddy Guy. And I'm like, damn, that's Buddy Guy. And I'm boarding before Buddy Guy, and it made me feel bad, And I didn't know what the hell.
He wasn't flying first class, right?
No. He was with a ragtag band of some kind. I said, I'm a huge fan. He said, thanks, whatever. So I sit down, and the guy I'm sitting next to is his road manager. And I said, I was just listening to Hoodoo Man Blues. I mean, how many people doing that today? I was just listening to it.
Atta babe.
Yeah. And he gave me his pick. He gave me a Buddy Guy pick. The road manager did.
Excellent.
But then this is what I'm getting at is that, I get off the plane. And I go and I see Buddy Guy's waiting at the baggage claim. I got my bag. I walk right by him, and I go out to get a bus to my car, and I'm like, fuck this.
I got to get a shot.
I'm going to be that guy. And I walk up to Buddy Guy, and I go, dude, can I take a picture with you? He's like, go ahead.
Yeah, right.
And literally, I lean in, and
he's going,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck. I mean, who the hell are you?
Yeah, but you know what? You know what the thing is with that, I find, seriously? It's all about how they ask. If somebody says, look, I know this is uncool, right?
Yeah.
I know it's uncool, but I literally have your record or whatever, in my thing right now or whatever it is. If you do it that way, it's okay in a way. It's all about how it's done.
Yeah. Did you ever play with him?
Yeah.
He's great.
Fantastic.
Huh? That must have been a rush, man.
Yeah, we played a show just in Florida now with Taj Mahal, Buddy Guy, and us. It was slamming.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was that a blues festival of some kind?
Yeah.
So, all right, so now, so you're at the top of the world, and now you've done, how many fucking records have you done? 8 or 9? 9 records?
Us?
Yeah.
I think 10.
10 records. Now,
which isn't very many, man. When you think about Merle Haggard, who's done probably 38.
But dude, to keep going and to keep surviving in the musical landscape, I mean, country's a different thing. I mean, you're a pop guy and you're a rock guy. I mean, those country guys, they can record in their sleep, and there's going to be 100, 200,000 people going to want to buy it.
Well, yeah. Well, that's a very good point right there. And that is that as a pop writer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it all matters. It's all about the writing, obviously.
Yeah.
Everything's always about the writing.
Yeah.
Shows, as you know. It's always about the writing.
Sure.
If the writing is good enough, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
And so, so you really want to write great material. And as a pop writer, you're informed by your audience. And when there is no audience, when the audience is fragmented to a zillion places, where's the motivation?
How do you hold it together? And also, audiences get older. They got different priorities,
Yeah.
You become a part of their history.
Yeah.
And I guess the struggle is, and I don't know what your point of view on it is, that you must have felt the arc of when you were starting to,
Sure.
Yeah. But I guess the real choice is do you become a nostalgia act, or do you continue to grow?
Right.
And where do you fall on that?
Well, you continue to grow.
Right.
You have to,
right?
Because otherwise it's just not interesting enough. But what's nice about being our age is that we have so much stuff that you can kind of rearrange it and revisit it.
Yeah,
kind of keeps it a little fresh. And the other thing is that when you're at this age, a couple new things go a long, long way because it's so refreshing.
Right. Sure.
So, I mean, we love playing live. We love doing it. I mean, it's really what we do. We're a real band in that sense.
Yeah.
And I love that. I mean, I today, in most of these big mega acts, there's a lot of, naughty bits going on.
What does that mean?
Well, there's samples and there's other people.
Dude,
on.
there's like
It's partial karaoke in lots of cases.
I just saw the Beach Boys and it was tragic in a way. I mean, they were all there, but nobody could hit those high notes, so they got a guy tucked away in the back on a guitar who's singing the Mike Love notes.
Well, the fact is, if they have a guy on guitar singing the notes, that's better than just having them on tape.
Yeah,
which people do also.
Yeah, I can't get on board with that. It drives me nuts. And it seems like they're sold it though by promoters.
Yeah. Well, there's a look. If you're playing at the Oakland Coliseum,
yeah,
it's not very good sound. Surprise.
Yeah.
Not made for music.
Yeah.
Isn't going to sound good.
Yeah.
So if you put a live to track, so the track is right on the lips of the speakers.
Yeah.
See, when you have to mic something up, the mic hears, even no matter how close it is to an amp or anything, it hears the whole room as well.
Right.
So the sound gets wetter and worse.
Yeah.
So there's a technical reason, arguably,
right,
that you sample drums.
Right.
Right. And I mean, they've been doing it since the early '80s.
Right.
So
it's nothing new.
No, I mean, I remember when I saw Springsteen, Born in the USA. He came out, went wah, ba da 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 da. Boom. That first snare drum was just a Lynn drum at the lips of the speakers at the Oakland Stadium.
Right.
I went, wow, they're triggering the drums, and the drum trigger was so bad that when he did single stroke rolls, you'd hear because it was cutting out sometimes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, that's fucking hard.
But that's how long they've been doing it, though.
Right.
And
Max is a fucking machine. You think that if you just told him what to do, he would be able to do it.
In that case, Max was playing.
Yeah.
He just had pads. They're not playing to click tracks.
Right.
Springsteen doesn't play to click. I mean, I don't know if they play to click or not.
Right.
But they don't have anything on samples, I guarantee you.
Right.
That's a real band really playing.
Right.
Which is great.
Right.
And I'm all for that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And
but when you look at the mega acts around, I mean, we're not going to, there's a lot of naughty bits.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's like, and I guess they can sort of rationalize that it's show business and,
Hey, here's another one. Why have pre-recorded music at these sporting events? The sound of a crowd, 50,000 people murmuring with a crack of a bat or a loud voice here, a vendor there, is an unbelievable sound that we never get to hear.
Yeah.
Because we have that disco stuff going on all the time.
Yeah.
And with all due respect, and I think Beyonce's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I really do, honest. Mm-hmm. But the halftime show, it's the solid gold dancers.
Sure.
It's not made for, and admittedly, you can't go play live out in the middle of a football field and have it sound any good. So put the Stanford band out there.
Yeah.
Or put a big band. That's what they're made for. Let everything be acoustic.
Yeah.
Have a guy in the crowd with a little trumpet, horn section band.
Yeah.
That's stuff like that. Or a guy with a banjo, real loud banjo.
Sure, bring it down to the human level.
At the San Francisco 49ers used to have an orchestra.
Right.
They were a jazz band, 18-piece jazz band.
Yeah.
With a ringer, the cable car ringer, Carl the cable car ringer.
Yeah.
That's 18 cats who got a paycheck on a Sunday, spreading the wealth a little bit. Zoom. Now it's just a tape recorder.
And I think the thing that gets lost is that, like, when you do see somebody really sing and the sort of vulnerability of that.
Exactly.
Is that, like, I don't even know that people know how to react to it anymore because their entire body, it's overwhelming just to hear, like, the real fluctuation of a voice or an instrument, even missing a beat.
Well, it's not only that. It's I always say, if you want to know whether something's lip synced or not, don't watch.
Yeah.
Close your eyes and listen. And if the voice doesn't move around a little bit, if it doesn't come in, and then you know it's not live.
Right. And it's just so amazing when you see real live shit, because that's what it's about. And that's what makes the human connection. Everything's so goddamn mechanical now.
I totally agree with that. But I don't think there's a right or wrong on that. I really don't. I mean, some people like the dance stuff that's just all electronic, I get that.
That
cold electronic dance stuff. I can't stand it. But that doesn't mean I'm right.
Yeah, machine music is fine if that's what you're buying a ticket for.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're buying a ticket for someone to sing and play their fucking guitar, they should be singing and playing their fucking guitar.
Well, there's a technical reason.
I get it.
Why you don't have live bands at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because you can't mic that up and get it through the thing. So therefore we do it live. We fake it.
Sure.
That's why we fake it.
But this happens in concerts as well. I mean, that's what we're saying.
It happens everywhere. It used in the award shows.
Yeah.
The Grammys used to be all live, and then suddenly they get sloppy in Mike's feedback, and so American Music Awards comes along and kicks their butt with live. Now the Grammys play catch up.
Right.
Now they're all just TV shows. Basically, they're TV shows.
Yep, that's it.
Can I say that, or am I
No,
going to
of
be
course you can.
ostracized?
No.
It's a terrible thing to say.
You're not going to be ostracized. It's not.
I'm not mad at the Grammy. I'm really.
No, they're not.
Please, Grammy people. Please, I love the Grammys.
How many you got?
One. Only one. Would love another one.
All right. So what's the new record? What are you recording now?
What we're doing this now is a Sports 30th anniversary record.
Okay.
Which is going to be the original Sports issued on CD. And then it's going to have another CD with all the same songs in the same sequence, but live throughout the 80s, different parts of the world kind of thing.
Okay.
So Harder Rock and Roll from Cleveland.
Right.
You know, Want a New Drug from Australia, that kind of thing.
So it's almost your own bootleg in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's a package with other stuff.
Yeah.
Total sports package.
Right. Oh, that's cool. Do you ever think about I did a couple more
being a
questions.
marketing executive?
No, it sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds like you talked to one anyway. It's good, man. But you ever think about doing like I recently was listening to some blues radio show, and I heard this song, and I was like, "What the fuck is that? That sounds great!" And it was fucking Dion from Dion and the Belmonts.
Yeah.
You know, playing straight up fucking original blues music,
right?
And it's like he's still, you know, doing what he loves and taking it to a different place. Do you ever think about just sitting down and getting a harp out and maybe recording with Muscle White or any of those cats or whatever the blues dudes?
Yeah, that's interesting. Hornsby always says that, and we always joke like we'd make some blues record. Take 2 days and make a blues record.
Why not?
Yeah, maybe, absolutely.
What do you got to lose?
I got a couple other things. We got some new material we're working on actually. That one song, one or two of which I think are really good, and now we got, I also got a couple commercial ideas. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
You don't want to work too hard.
Yeah.
Too much ambition.
Yeah.
At too ripe an age.
Yeah.
Is an ugly thing.
Yeah. Why? Because it's hard not to look desperate.
Well, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, why does he, why? You know, why?
Yeah.
Come on, move over, make room for somebody else.
Come on, old
man.
You had
your day.
Exactly. Yeah. What do we got what are these dinosaurs in the way for?
That's why I got to make sure that all the choices are creative. That's it.
Yeah.
I did a Deb Monk, who's the great actress, man.
Yeah.
That's what she told me. She was the mama character when I did Chicago on Broadway. I did the musical Chicago on Broadway. And she told me three things I think about. Number one, is it money? Number two, is it a career move? And number three, is it something that I really want to do creatively?
Right.
And nothing's money anymore. The money's not as great as it. And there aren't really any career moves. So.
Right.
So,
but you're all right. You're comfortable.
I'm fine. I'm not complaining.
Yeah. Now, what about acting, man? I mean, I remember seeing you as one of the three dudes in Shortcuts, and you did a couple other things. I mean, do you still want to do that? I mean, you were good, man.
Yeah, I love doing it when I don't, when it's a good part. So
yeah.
It's fortunately I don't have to make my living as an actor.
Yeah.
And so if it's creative and it's fun. I love it, man. I think it's super creative.
Yeah.
At short periods of time.
How'd you get hooked up with Bob Altman, though?
He just called me, and he was a music fan.
Yeah.
He's a music fan.
Yeah.
And he was great, and he drove me to Bakersfield to the location. He said, "Why don't you come with me?" And which was like a 3-hour drive,
Yeah.
And we to the way up to the location, and it was like it was a symposium. I mean, he told me everything I needed to know. Or that's what he intended to tell me.
Like what?
Like know the character, learn the character, know the character, so well that you know the character better than anybody else. He says sometimes you can bounce ideas off other people just to see whether or not, but you'll know how they respond and all that stuff. But basically, the choices are yours.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to remember that the choices are yours. You're the actor. You got to become the character. So take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah. And was he a good cat?
Oh, the greatest, man. He was brilliant,
Yeah,
He was
great movie maker.
And he was so smart.
Yeah.
He could block a scene with 6 people in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, hardly anybody can even do that anymore.
Yeah.
In the amount of time that he could do, he could block a scene and say, you do this, you do that, you do that. But no, wait a minute. You enter from here and then do your thing here and then and he'd block it all out. And then he'd put his arm around each one of you and say, give you a little business. If you didn't have any, if you only had one line, he'd say, okay, you know where the car is. And
right.
You're concerned about, are we going to remember where the car is?
Right.
The parking place. Okay.
Yeah.
And you know where the fishing spot is and you want to make, and it's fantastic.
Wow.
And then he'd say action and he'd just take, and when he got it, he'd say move.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And then he'd encourage you to come watch the dailies. And when you watch the dailies, you see the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's so few takes of everything.
Right.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. What a wizard, man. Amazing.
Yeah.
And now one other thing. So that, because this is an interesting thing, and it's a real issue that, the Ghostbusters lawsuit.
I can't talk about it. I just can't talk about it. I got in trouble last time for
Oh, really?
about it. Yeah, I can't.
Well, in a general way, in terms of intellectual property and that stuff, it's crazy, right?
And I will think about writers like guys like you, comedy guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you write a great script, a great scene,
or joke,
it goes viral. It's this huge thing that people were saying, and you make it. And what'd you make?
Nothing.
Few hours.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Well, the worst part about it is it's like when, and this is for musicians too, is that if somebody grabs your bit, let's say you're trying to work out some shit, and they put it up. It kills the bit. Sometimes before
you're not
it's
even ready yet.
Right. Sometimes before it's even done.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And you can't, you know what I mean? And the need to keep up with people's appetite for content as a human being is fucking impossible.
Well, we have a communication problem in this country.
Uh-huh.
We can't stop.
Yeah. That's it. We can stop now. It's good talking to you, man.
The greatest. Thanks.
Huey Lewis, real guy, real story, good talk. Thank you for listening. Watch Maron on IFC tonight. Buy the book. Just finishing my corned beef. What else can I tell you to do? Go to WTFpod.com. I'm going to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin tomorrow night at the Pabst Theater. Come out for that. I don't know. It's been a big week. I'm going to just end it like that. Go to the website. Do what you got to do. Get a little justcoffee.coop. Okay. All right. Okay. I can handle this. Okay.